Hi everyone, this is Terry at terryscraftroom.com. Today we're going to make this cute little self-closing box. Isn't that just adorable? Let me show you how it opens and closes. You just open the top just like that, and then you just pinch in the corners and it closes. Just adorable. Let's get started. So what you need is a piece of cardstock that is 10.5 inches wide and 6.5 inches, or 10.5 inches long and 6.5 inches wide. The score marks are pretty easy. Get my scoreboard up here. So, let me find my score tool. This will work. So you're going to score the long side at 2.5 inches, at 5 inches, at 7.5 inches, and at 10 inches. Pretty easy. And then you're going to score the short side at 2.5 and 5. And that's it. Well, that's not it. That's all the scoring on the scoreboard. So then we've got these smaller rectangles up here at the top. We have two larger sets of squares and then these smaller rectangles at the top. That's what we're going to work with to get our closing for the top of our box. Here's a template that I made. And this is what we're going to do with the top of the box. Okay? Or with that top rectangle. How are we going to do that? Well, first, we're going to get a ruler. And within each one of these little rectangles, we're going to make a tick mark at 1.25 inches. Because each one of these little boxes is 2.5 inches wide, so we want the halfway point. Okay, now that we've got that, let me find my score tool again. Okay, now I just went through my craft room and found this lid. And what you need is a lid that is big enough to give you an arc from here, from your tick mark down to the corner of your score corner. And I'm going to place it on the tick mark and down here in the corner, and then I'm going to score around that arc. And I'm going to do that on all four. And you might notice I'm going over it a couple of times because since I don't have the channels for the scoreboard, I want to make sure I've got a good score there. You probably can't see that very well, but there you can see it. So I've just done this half. Now I'm going to go back and do them this way, so that I have. I need to turn it upside down though. So that I have it scored in both directions. And there you can see I'm scored in both directions on all four of my rectangles. Okay, so now we've got to make the bottom of our box, our bottom tabs. So where we just scored the arcs is our top. So the other side is our bottom. So I'm going to cut up to the first score line, and this is going to be a square tab. Now this one I'm going to miter, And then this one is going to be a square tab. So you want 2 mitered tabs and 2 square tabs. And it doesn't really matter which one's which. And then I'm going to cut this little rectangle off here and then miter there as well. So there's our cutting done and our scoring done. And let's fold and burnish our score lines. So the top score line you really don't need a strong fold on. It's a soft fold, so to speak. So I kind of bent it, but I didn't really burnish it. And then I'm going to take each one of these arcs and I'm going to train it on their score lines. Okay, so there we are. Now we're going to start putting it together. So let's put adhesive on this little tab here. That's a 1/2 inch tab. Fold it over, and then we're going to fold this over, and that'll form our box. Just like that. Okay. Now, before it's easier to do some of the decorating beforehand before we actually do it into a box. So before I do up the bottom part, adhere up the bottom part, I am going to grab my eraser and erase my little tick marks. Okay, and then I've got these pieces of squares of glitter paper, and they are 1-inch squares. And all I'm doing is I'm going to bend them a little bit because they're going to have to go around. See, they're right here. They're going to have to go around over that corner, but I don't want them scored and burnished. I just want them bent a little bit. And then I'm going to adhere them right in here with my corners right along the score line. And I'm just taking the flat end of my bone folder and giving it a good press to make sure that that is on there well, because when I start bending and folding that top in, I want that glue to have adhered to the cardstock really nicely. So that's all I'm doing there. So I've got those on. The rest of it we can do when it's a box. So let's turn it upside down. Okay, I've got 2 flat and 2 mitered. So the way you're going to put these down is you're going to go flat, miter, miter, flat. And the reason we're going to do that is so that you've got a nice inside. You have a full piece on the inside, and then everything lays nicely, and then you have a full piece on the outside. So as you can see, it doesn't really matter which one's which unless you had a front to or a back to your box, which we really don't. We can choose a front to this box. So flat, miter, miter, and then here's my square, or square, miter, miter, square, I guess you could call it. And you can see here where you see the mitering and stuff. So this covers all that and gives you a nice bottom. And then we covered all that on the inside too, and we have a nice inside. And I'm just using the flat end of my bone folder to push down on the inside so everything sticks really nicely. And that was my phone going off. Okay, so there we are. Our box is starting to take shape here. So to get this closure here, what you do is you're going to take the corners and you're going to press them in like this. And just keep pressing in. And if it doesn't want to stay right away, press it down so that it's way down. See how it's down further? And then you can pull it back up and it'll stay. Or if you like it down all the way, you can press it way down. And see, now it'll stay. You just have to train it. Okay, so to do the rest of our decorating here, I took a flower punch and I cut a flower out. And then I'm going to shape my flower, and this take your pick tool is great for lots of things. I used it earlier to score with. Now I'm going to use this end with the lid on and shape my flower. And there you go. So I just put it on a piece of foam mat and just went around in a circle, and then now my flower has dimension to it. Isn't that cool? These take your pick tools are a wonderful tool. So I'm going to just punch out a small circle, and that's going to be the center of my flower. Put that on right there, and there's our flower. Okay, and I just happen to have a bunch more made. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 flowers. 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 flowers. Okay. So I'm going to take these first few and put them on the tops up here. Okay, now we need ribbon. And this is our two-sided ribbon. I like the shiny side. One side shiny, one side, and they're two different colors. This is, I'm not sure what color this is. Pretty Peacock. And then this side is Old Olive. We're going to use the Old Olive side. So, when you're putting ribbon on a 3D project, and you're going to put a sentiment or something, you start your ribbon and end it under the sentiment. So we're going to start and end our ribbon in the center of a panel. And I'm putting the tape on my project. And you'll see the reason for this in just a second. Okay, so we'll start in the center. And I'm going to cut it off right there where we ended it. Okay, so we can see that right there is our seam for our ribbon. So we're going to cover that up. So I have Just For You, and that came out of the sweet strawberry stamp set. If you missed, by the way, if you missed any of the measurements or just want to double check anything, this video, well, down in the description of this video will be the direct post or link to my blog post for this, and all the measurements and everything are in my blog post over at terryscraftroom.com. Check it out, and while you're there, check out or sign up for my mailing list. Okay, where is my, there's my scalloped circle punch. I'm going to just punch it out. I just had a scrap piece of Whisper, well, it's not Whisper White anymore, it's Basic White. And so I have another 2 pieces of this green glitter that I'm going to mount this sentiment on, just like that. And with 3D projects, you really don't have to worry about how big your, or how high, how many dimensionals you use to make it go through the mail, because this isn't going to go through the mail. This is going to be given to someone. So we can make it just as dimensional as we want. I don't know about you, but I find I have a little bit of issue picking these little mini dimensionals off the paper. And so if you are watching how I'm picking them up, I'm using my Take Your Pick tool again, and I'm sliding it under and picking them up just like that, and then just placing them with the Take Your Pick tool. Makes it really easy. So here's the seam in our ribbon, and we're just going to cover that up just like that. Now, to make it even, I'm going to put this other piece on the other side, and then we're going to use the rest of our flowers to finish decorating. That doesn't want to go away. There we go. So make sure that's on the opposite side of our box, of our sentiment. And then on this side, I'm going to put a dimensional on one. I'm going to glue 1, 2 straight down. And then I'll put the dimensional, the one that's dimensioned, just like that. And the glue just needs a little time to stick. And on the other side, I'm just going to put one down here. And one up here. There we go. There's our self-closing box. I hope you enjoyed today's project. If you did, give me a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel. Help me grow my YouTube family. And try this yourself. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!